Hello, hello. How we doing? How we feeling? They finally told you what's going on? Hell yeah. I love that you're finally getting answers about baby goldfish. Okay, once I know y'all can hear me, we will hop right into it. How we feeling? How we doing? Got some water here to make sure that I'm hydrated. Y'all make sure you are hydrating, please. It's important for your brains and your bodies. Hopefully y'all hear me. Oh, goodness. Got first place in Dress to Impress. Congratulations, I love that for you. We do hear me, yes, I hope. We'll find out. Because it shows on my side, but I do always be getting nervous. Oh geez, Goldfish, I'm so sorry. That's intense. Wow. Doing good. Despicable Me 4 was great. We'll watch Inside Out 2 later. Awesome, I loved both of those. A game I want to show y'all at some point. It's called, Season, and you travel around the world as a character on a little bike, and you take different pictures and stuff and record the world around you, and it's very peaceful and I don't know, it's a very calming game. I get that. Character AI has me in a chokehold. For anyone who doesn't know, we will be continuing with Our Life Beginnings and Always with our boy Cove Holden. I absolutely love him. We are currently playing through the moments that I have not seen yet. And yeah, fun fact, when we get to happiness, that will be the last moment I have not seen of this game. So that's gonna hit me hard. But as for today, we are playing the serendipity moment. And for anyone who doesn't know, because I wasn't sure what this meant either, so I looked it up. Just so we're all on the same page, serendipity is the occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way. So I thought that was kind of cool. I'd never heard that before. But yeah, that is what we will be doing. I'm also going to try and focus on reading, but Yoda is snoring. So if I laugh at some stupid shit, just ignore me. Light filtered down through the leaves of an oak tree overhead, casting speckled shadows on the sidewalk all around you. There was a drop of sweat slowly making its way down the side of your face. You flicked it away with your thumb, slowing to a stop in the cool shade. The day had you out and about in town, in no hurry to go anywhere in particular. You had just gotten something to eat, and there was nothing planned for the rest of the afternoon. Your moms were at work, and Liz had left early in the morning to do something. You had no idea what. You took out your phone, idly noting the time when it started to buzz. The screen lit up in your hand. Speak of the devil, Liz messaged you. Is my sister. I actually like my sister now. Come home ASAP. Oof. Before you could even begin to question why, your phone went off again. Nothing bad, but you have to see this, so come back already. And with that final message, you were left only slightly less confused than you were before. You hadn't seen much of your sister lately. She had been acting strange for days, always shutting herself up in her room. Which wouldn't be so weird if at the dinner table she didn't suddenly start smirking to herself over nothing. The rare times you did see her, she would sneak you expectant looks like she was waiting to be asked what was up, but all your questions led nowhere. She'd answer you with a put upon sigh, proclaim that she was busy, and tell you that she would have to talk about it later. No hints, no guessing. Whatever it was, she was determined to keep it a secret. Maybe now you'd finally find out what it was. As you did an about face on the sidewalk and started heading home, you received more texts. To your surprise, the name that popped up on the screen this time was Coves. Did you hear from Liz? About some urgent thing you have to see? She messaged Cove too? You weren't surprised. Liz teased him about it, but he was like family. However, you were struggling to understand how he fit into Liz's surprise. What is there something on fire for real though? What is going on? His reply came only seconds later as you waited to cross the street. Something tells me it's not that, and something tells me you know that too. Okay, fair. You laughed to yourself as you read his message. A short-lived joke, but you knew when to let things go. You got me, detective. Too bad that's all I know. Are you going to see what's up? I'm walking there now. Me too. Glancing up, you saw that the light had changed to a walk sign while you were busy texting. You hurriedly wrapped things up, texting Cove a quick goodbye before crossing the street. Good luck, Goldfish. Get home safe. It was fine. You'd be seeing him later anyway. Not expecting any more messages, you put your phone away so you could walk without having to worry about tripping over the curb. Thankfully, it was a short trek home, and soon enough you were walking up your street, the familiar face of your house already in view. Thinking of what might be waiting at home. I mean, she said it wasn't bad, but I have anxiety, so I have a feeling I would still be worried. I'm not really one for surprises. I like to know things. Yeah, I was making you worried. The sight of your front door had you swallowing uneasily. Liz said it wasn't anything bad, but in the back of your head, you couldn't shake that faint worry. Lost in your thoughts, you almost didn't see who was walking further up the street. Cove. Even from the back, the bright sea green color of his hair was unmistakable. You quickened your pace to catch up to him, the scuff of your shoes loud against the pavement. He heard it instantly, not missing a beat as he turned towards you and slowed his steps in sync. Hey, Blake. Hi. Here we are, at my house. What the fuck is going on? At that, Cove gave you a weary smile. Here we are. Why we are? Where? Why? It sounded almost like a question, wondering why the two of you had been summoned there. Any ideas on what Liz wants us for? You shook your head. The situation was out of character for your sister. Anything could happen. Well, I guess we should go in and find out. Taking his cue, you grabbed your keys and opened up the front door. Cove trailed behind you as you entered. You nervously stuck your head through the doorway and peered about, not sure what you were looking for or looking out for. From the entryway, you could see Liz pacing across the living room, her smiling gaze intent on her phone. You had caught her just as she had completed a turn. Behind you, the door clicked shut. The second she heard it, her head darted up to your direction, her features lighting up at the sight of you and Cove. Ah, you've arrived, and together too. That's perfect, just perfect. Liz, why are you being weird? Why'd they draw your eyebrows through your hair? Liz, what is going on? Why were we summoned? What is this? I do like her dress, though. Her dress is pretty. And her hat. Just her whole outfit, honestly. She flashed you a radiant smile. You could almost see her limbs vibrating as if she was poised to pounce. Cove raised an eyebrow at your sister's bizarre behavior. Same, honestly. What's going on? Oh, you'll see. Liz's eyes narrowed with a mischievous glint, and she let out a little cackle. So lately, I've been hard at work on a little plan of mine, and you two get the honor of seeing it all come together. Here it is. Surprise! She lifted a hand in the air to present the very comfortable but completely mundane living room. In the resulting silence, you and Cove glanced around again, and then made eye contact with each other. His face mirrored your bafflement. Then suddenly, another voice rang out in the room. Surprise! Ah. Cove flinched at the shout, his shoulders shooting up to his ears. Laughter came from your sister, as well as from the other side of the room. Your head whipped around just in time to see a familiar figure with a freckled face and a purple cap springing up from behind the back of the couch. Cove's mouth fell open, recognition immediately coming to him. Shiloh? Hold the fuck up! Wait, Liz tracked down Shiloh? He didn't know us before. What did Liz do? I'm gonna need a better explanation, like, now, please. Hi, Cove. Hi, Blake. Shiloh greeted the two of you so casually, like he'd been gone for 10 days rather than 10 years. But I thought you weren't the Shiloh we knew? The initial shock quickly wore off. You crossed your arms and leveled a look at the freckled face who had ditched you at the start of summer. He treated you and Liz like complete strangers. Shiloh shifted nervously, angling the brim of his hat down as if to hide from your scrutiny. Liz tutted at your comment. Don't be rude, I'll explain. When we got home that day, I changed my mind about letting it go. Why did I have to? Social media exists, right? So I thought, why not try finding him and sending him a little reminder message? Luckily, there are only so many 17-year-old Shiloh Fields in the world. It wasn't that hard to do. Hearing Liz speak seemed to encourage Shiloh, who pulled himself together to face both you and your sister with a careful smile. I'm really sorry about what happened. When you talked to me that first time, I was in the middle of a tour for a school field trip. I couldn't get separated from the group and didn't expect anyone to want to be talking to me. I was so worried about getting back to everyone else, I didn't think too hard on what you were saying. But when Lizzie's message showed up, everything suddenly hit me. Lizzie, Blake, Cove, you were the kids of Sunset Bird, back when I was a little kid. Stop, this is so cute. There's no way I could forget that, not for real. I do know all of you, and I'm so happy I get to see you again. I have Lizzie to thank for that. My mom was already planning to take a short trip near here this summer. If my mom could bring me along, Lizzie offered to pick me up and bring me the rest of the way here just so I could visit the neighborhood again. Stop, it's so cute! And that's why I decided to make it a big reveal instead of outright telling you two I got back in contact with Shiloh. Once again, she lifted a hand in the air, properly presenting that long-lost childhood friend you all shared. So, ta-da! Probably glad they were able to see each other again. I know Lizzie was really bummed when Shiloh moved, far the fuck away. You smiled softly at Liz, remembering how Shiloh used to follow your sister around like a baby chick after his mom when they were kids. I was gonna say, the gang's all here, look at this! That shit is so cute, stop, I'm obsessed. It's nice seeing the two of you together like this, just like old times. Cove blinked slowly, still a little dazed by everything that was going on. Okay, I'm going to get some water. Don't disappear or anything. Oh, poor Cove, he's trying. He padded off to the kitchen, no need for a chaperone. He knew where the cups were. Wow, you really surprised him, Lizzie. And Blake, too. Did you see their face when I appeared? Yes, I did. Look at Liz, she's so fucking proud of herself right now. Liz patted the cushioned front of the couch. Make yourself comfortable. You don't need to keep hunkering down behind there anymore. With a laugh, Shiloh crossed around backside and took the seat. But maybe it was awkward being the only one sitting because he kept idly twiddling his fingers. You could hear him humming to himself, a nonsense tune with no real melody, something to keep his voice busy. Being here again could be more nerve-wracking for him than he let on. Cove's soft voice announced his return. He paused to drag the back of his hand across his mouth, wiping away what droplets of water lingered there. Hi, Shiloh. Welcome back. At Cove's confused greeting, Shiloh laughed cheerily. Thanks. I think it's amazing you're all still here in the same neighborhood. It's just like how it was way back then. Well, I mean, a couple things have changed. I wouldn't say it's the exact same. I mean, we're all taller. That's a thing that changed. The furniture and the setup of the space kind of changed a little bit. It's not all the same. Shiloh sighed happily at the moment as Cove raised an eyebrow and gave the room a considering glance. Hey, this is where we met the first time, remember? Right after I moved in, me and Blake were brought down right here to have a play date with you. Yeah. Shiloh laughed, his eyes downcast as he fiddled with the corner of his collared shirt. We almost didn't meet in the living room 'cause you wanted to jump out the window to get away from me. Cove cringed at the memory of his younger self being pushed back to the forefront of his mind. His mouth going tight, he awkwardly looked away from Shiloh. You have a good memory. Oh, I don't think so. Seeing this place again just brings lots of things back. He clapped his hands together, an idea suddenly coming to him. But hey, now that our group is together, would you want to go out and visit some of the old places? I've been hiding in this living room since I got here. Liz wasn't afraid to laugh at herself, bringing a hand to her chest to silently take the blame for that. I'd love to. Yeah. Without missing a beat, the others turned to you for your answer. Definitely. Let's fucking go. Sounds like fun. And with that, the four of you headed out into the neighborhood as one. Even with how short the time you spent indoors was, the sun was momentarily blinding once you left the house. Squinting, you brought your hand up to shield your eyes. The pleasant summer day had yet to go away, only a few wispy clouds drifting along in the sky. Shiloh, the mean nut grandparents aren't here anymore, did you know? As you strolled down the way, Liz took the lead, followed by you and Cove walking side by side. Shiloh freely took to walking in the middle of the road, his arms idly swinging back and forth at his sides as he turned his head every which way to take in as much as he could. It was very much a trip down memory lane for him. You wondered how much the neighborhood had changed in his eyes. Not a word passed between the group about where you were heading first, but soon enough you found yourselves walking the usual path to the shopping street. Before you reached it, the sounds of it did. A collective of sandals tracking sand, the shrill calls of seagulls, the overlapping conversations of beachgoers, and random strains of music from various stalls. Wow! The odd gasp had come from Shiloh. His eyes were all lit up. Were there always so many different stores in one place? Yeah, of course. Wow, I can see why so many people come here. Hey, do they still have those nice little ice cream stands? Yeah, that hasn't changed. Yay, we should get some. It'll be my treat. Thanks, Shiloh. Ice cream sounds perfect on such a hot day. How about you, Cove? You could see that unlike Liz, Cove was struggling with the decision, brow wrinkled in thought. Finally, a hesitant smile appeared on his face as he settled on keeping the spirit of the special occasion. Yeah, sounds good to me. I was gonna say, when does Cove turn down food? Be so for real. Awesome. And Blake? I'd like that, thanks. Shiloh gave you a wide grin, as if you were the one buying him ice cream. The four of you continued to walk as ice cream plans were further discussed. Are you getting a popsicle, Lizzie? I love the Lizzie. I want ice cream too, for real. It's okay. Saturday, T and I are going grocery shopping, so I'll grab some ice cream while we're out. Yes. Hearing that, Shiloh smiled shyly. I thought you might still like that. I'm gonna get an ice cream cone. Shiloh began to turn towards Cove, but before he could ask, Cove offered up his choice. I'll get an ice cream sandwich. I'm gonna get gotta go ice cream sandwich. It's a good choice. Cove gave you a quick smile at your matching preference. You still like those? Cool. Yep. There was an ice cream stall further up the street, across from a souvenir shop displaying postcards of the seaside and saltwater taffy in the windows. In its windows. Water. Oh, that reading out loud be a lot sometimes, y'all. The stand itself was already hard to miss with its pastel pinks and blues and its eye-catching poster boards listing every individual flavor. It was impossible to ignore once the catchy little jingle playing from its speakers was added. Shiloh greeted the owner and began picking out the treats that everyone had chosen. He paid for them before handing them out to their respective owners. Sinking your teeth into your ice cream sandwich, you relished the sweet chill it left in your mouth. Liz was right. This was a perfect treat for a summer day. Around you, everyone was eating at their own pace. Liz held the popsicle away from herself, careful not to let it drip onto her dress. She was trying to go about eating it as delicately as she could while Shiloh dug into his. You counted only 2 or 3 bites before Cove had devoured his sandwich. Shiloh laughed, also noticing the way Cove inhaled his food. I'm Cove, though, honestly. I be inhaling food so fucking fast. It's not my fault. It's good. Which flavor is your favorite? I've been getting this, chocolate fudge brownie something. When I pick up more of it on Saturday, I'll send a picture of it over in the cord. I can't remember what exactly the name is. I'm pretty sure it's Ben & Jerry's, I think. Not it's already finished. Cove shrugged a little in reply, his attention more focused on crumbling up the sandwich wrapper in his hand. So what have you been doing around here since I've been gone? Well, I already told you about me attending college away from here, so I don't really live here anymore. Oh, it's so weird hearing Liz talk about college. But to be more specific on my life, I'm pursuing a degree in architecture. Shiloh perked up at that, his mouth falling open in awe. Amazing! Thanks. He's still her biggest fan, they've been apart for 10 years, and Shiloh still loves her. It's so cute. Actually, I was thinking about it, and the first time I really decided I liked buildings and building them was when you and I would make sand castles out on the beach. Aw, Lizzie. At such a sincere admission from your sister, all Shiloh could do was blush and lower his head, too flattered to know what else to say. Liz laughed, just as flustered though she had been the one to say it. The atmosphere was awkward but not unpleasant. Shiloh shyly glanced over at you and Cove. Jesus, Shiloh doing anything shyly fucks up my shit a little bit. It's a lot of sh. Then what about you two? What have you been up to? Me and Blake just graduated. High school, I mean. I've got a part-time job. I volunteer at this organization to clean stuff clean up stuff, things like that. Not that's a secret. Nodded along with Cove. You felt there were two kinds of answers to these questions, a fun answer or an impressive answer. You didn't know which to give, so you were content to let Cove stand on its own. Shiloh just seemed happy to hear it. Great. Being around him again was a little like picking up an old forgotten habit, clunky at first, but as the four of you talked, it started to come more naturally. And when one of you ran out of things to say, suddenly someone else remembered something new. Oh right, do you remember those mean old, not actually grandparents that used to live in our neighborhood? Yes, Liz, thank you for bringing up the mean, not grandparents. They're gone, Shiloh. We can live in freedom now. Yeah, they were so mean. Well, they're not here anymore. Oh no! Oh Jesus, does Shiloh think they died? Cause if they're mean, not grandparents, they are on the older side. No, Shiloh, they're not dead. I promise. I can see why your brain went there, but that's not what's happening. They're not spending summers here anymore. They're still alive. Thank goodness. Yeah, poor Shiloh thought they died. Oh no. It helped that Shiloh was just as eager to hear what had gone on in his absence as people were to tell him. Soon, everyone threw out what trash they had in a nearby garbage can as your group made their way down to the beach. Going down the shore inevitably led to a certain spot. Are we gonna stop by the playground too? The playground was Liz's shit when we were kids. It didn't take very long for Shiloh to recognize what was in the distance. His words trailed off in the middle of a sentence, his footsteps faltering at first. Then, all at once, he broke away from the group and dashed right into the old park, giggling as he ran. I knew it! Give me the old park! Oh, everything's so small. His laughter petered out as he came to a stop by the swings and grabbed hold of one of the support poles. He walked in a little circle around it, marveling at how easily his hand wrapped around its entirety. Emboldened by Shiloh's enthusiasm, Liz plopped herself down on one of the swing sets, only to instantly show an expression of regret. There was no way she was comfortable in that tiny seat so low to the ground, not with how she had to scrunch up her legs to fit there. Shiloh creeped up behind her. He took hold of the chains of her swing, one in each hand. What are you doing? With a grin, Shiloh started walking back. Liz shifted in her seat to look at him. You cannot be trying to push me. These are made for kids. It's never gonna work. But Shiloh just hummed and kept pulling her back. Resigning herself to her fate, Liz tucked her legs up as much as possible as Shiloh moved his hands to her back. With a running start, he got her forward and up as far as he could go before jumping out of the way. Liz had her eyes squeezed shut, a screech escaping her as the swing started falling backwards, and when it swung back around, there was Shiloh again to push her. She couldn't kick the ground like when you were kids. Her legs were too long for that now, but Shiloh was pushing her enough to keep the momentum going. The air was filled with their wild laughter and the almost rhythmic jangle of the swing chains. Cove sat against the bars of the jungle gym, wearing a bent smile as he watched them. He was fiddling with something, turning it over and over in his hands. The beach does look nice. I love the art for this game. When you craned your neck to get a better view, he obligingly lifted it for you to see. It was a piece of shell, one side rough and mottled gray, the other side completely smooth, revealing a faint blue sheen when it caught the light. I saw it on the beach. It's nice, isn't it? Yeah, it's a good one. I love that even 10 years later, we just be collecting shells and shit on the beach. My whole heart right now, bro. No, I meant Shiloh. He seems more confident than I remember. Not why don't you push me on the swings like that? I think so too. He and Liz look closer than they did as kids. I love them. They're cute. Cove nodded, leaning back to enjoy the breeze blowing in from the sea. Soon your sister began to speak out. All right, all right. I'm ready to get off now. How do you stop this? Oh no. Don't worry. Shiloh braced himself, one foot planted forward as the swing started coming back down. Then, in one quick motion, he reached up and caught the chains again. The impact had his feet skidding back in the sand, but he kept his stance steady. If Liz was surprised at suddenly being brought to a halt, she didn't show it, only tilting her head up to smile at him. Shiloh had yet to catch his breath, though returned the smile just as brightly. He let go of the chains, walking around the swing set, and briefly rubbed his hands together before offering one to Liz, which she graciously accepted, needing the help to get out of the tiny seat. Oh yeah, he was obsessed. He literally followed her like a little puppy dog, and it was so fucking cute. Like, because Liz has always liked being in charge, and Shiloh has always liked not being in charge. So they really balanced each other out when we were kiddos. Then the two of them made their way back over to Ewan Cove. Liz was looking more ruffled than usual, and her sun hat was off kilter, having held on for dear life for the entire ride. She took a moment to straighten her outfit back into place. That looked like fun. It was. I love these two. They're so cute. My heart, man. Even though you were just pushing me on the swings? Yep, that was the fun part. Huh. Hey Shiloh, you've got an idea of what our lives have been like since you've been gone, but I've been wondering what happened to you after you moved away. Shiloh's eyes went wide, as if it was surprising to hear. You couldn't recall him talking about himself when you were all telling stories, but maybe he hadn't been able to find the right timing. Yeah, it was at the beginning of the game. Shiloh hangs out with us in step 1. Yeah, he hangs out in step 1 and then completely falls off the face of the map because him and his mom had to move away for her work. We're not freaking Shiloh out, are we? Those are some very wide eyes there, bud. He brought his hand to his chin, tapping it thoughtfully as he looked up and to the side. Well, what happened was my mom decided to move back to the south, closer to where I was born. We stayed there for a few years until she got another job offer in California again, thanks to a connection she had here. It was a really good job at a private boarding school, so she decided to take it. With a wide grin, he said the next part. And as a bonus, her kid, me, gets to attend the school and live in the dorms for free. I've been there since my second year of middle school. Pretty soon, I'm gonna be starting my last year of high school. Liz leaned towards him with an attentive smile on her face. Have you been doing well there? Getting good grades? Got any friends? At the list of questions, Shiloh held his hands in front of himself as if they were physical things he could stave off. Yeah, to everything. It can be a little hard sometimes 'cause of how people are in that school, but I'm happy. How people are? Cove couldn't guess what that meant, but Liz folded her arms, scowling. What does that mean? Hold on. How are people? I'm with Cove. I don't know what the hell Shiloh means. Are they like mean or oh wait, what was that one guy we saw at the beginning of summer who like yelled for Shiloh to come? Oh, is that who she's thinking of? 'Cause that one guy was a douche. That's the only thing I can think of. Or maybe she's just picturing people being mean to Shiloh and is like, ew, no. Don't tell me there's more people like that Nate guy hanging around. Yes, Nate! That's his fucking name. That guy was a jerk. Shiloh rubbed at his cheek, laughing nervously. He glanced from the bars of the jungle gym to the laces of his shoes, to the trees swaying in the distance, unsure of where to rest his gaze. Not exactly. Nate doesn't mean to be mean. He just kind of is. That doesn't feel super reassuring. Shiloh? Hmm. He's the school's #1 performer for athletics and academics. He always takes on so much responsibility that the only possible way he can finish it all is if absolutely nothing goes wrong. But that's impossible, so he's always stressed and ready to snap. He can't handle it when someone seems to be causing a problem. Yeah, Shiloh's honestly, like, he was a sweet kid. He just drove me nuts with how indecisive he can be. Like, if you ask him what he wants to do, he just says whatever you want to do and refuses to have any, like, opinions or, like, anything ever. So he kind of drove me nuts sometimes. That's why during the field trip, he was upset when I went off on my own like that. Still, he's really smart and reliable and sensitive, and he cares a lot. Most of the time, he doesn't even realize his way of dealing with stuff upsets other people. Cove had a patient smile on his face, listening earnestly as Shiloh rattled off his list of Nate's good traits. You know him pretty well. Are you actually friends? Well, not exactly. Me and Nate are in the same after-school group. About once a month, me, 6 other students, and a supervisor get together to talk. We did it all of last year, and I think next year we're going to be in the same group again. I hope so. I'm going to be supportive and say nice, even though I don't understand wanting to be around Nate personally. Shiloh liked this after-school group of his, and you were glad to hear he had a space for himself in his school. Personally, I'd still appreciate having a word with Nate about his communication skills. Oh boy, Liz. Her tone of voice was low and pointed. You'd be worried for Nate, if not for the playful smile that accompanied her words. Shiloh let out a little laugh at that. I do have Nate's number, but he wouldn't pick up. The people in my group only answer when they feel like hearing from me, so I usually have to wait for them to call. That doesn't sound like a great group. I answer my friends when they call me. Unless I'm like really super busy and then I call them back, but like I don't like that only answer when they feel like hearing from me. That rubs me the wrong way. Shiloh, you need better friends, my guy. Either that or they'd never even consider answering my calls or calling me or talking to me at all unless the supervisor forces them to. Yikes. It was such a bleak description of his dynamic with his group, but he didn't seem to realize it until he glanced up and saw the concerned looks on everyone's faces. Okay, I've been Shiloh before though, where you talk about something from your past or something that's currently going on, and like because it's just the normal to you and it's what you're used to, you don't realize that that's not how it's supposed to be and that's not how people are supposed to treat you. And so you don't know until someone else is kind of like, "Are you good, my guy?" Like that doesn't sound pleasant. His smile fell. He hastened to add one more thing. Well, except for one who'll always answer for sure. Oh? She immediately perked up. So that's a friend of yours. Does Shiloh have a girlfriend? He hesitated to answer, something Cove picked up on. Is more than a friend. Not exactly. Oh no, he just likes them. But if they always answer you, there's something going on. I'm sorry. There's something there. His little smile and shit, like there's something. Yeah, I'd like to be friends though. All right. Liz crossed her arms together once more, grim-faced like she was the commander of a ship about to lead her little crew into battle. You should call them right now. What? If you want to be friends with them, I can help. If you're going to be in the same group again, then you should at least try to get along. No, I couldn't. He quickly grew flustered, his tongue stumbling over his sentences. So what, does he have a crush on them? I'm trying to understand, Shiloh, but you're not giving me a lot to work with here, my guy. I wanna know. I wanna know. Not his tongue stumbling over his sentences. I also like we can see Cove's little scar. I don't want to be a bother. Liz, what are we going to do? Watch him while he talks to someone on the phone? No, Cove. Damn, not the boldened text. Shiloh. The last syllable of Shiloh's name trailing off into nothing. It soon became clear Liz had not fully thought out the plan yet, but she wouldn't be Liz if she just stopped there. Shiloh could put them on a video call, and we could all talk together, of course. Liz, I don't know if this is gonna go the way you think it's gonna go. Personally, it kind of sounds like a train wreck. She clapped her hands together, a wide smile on her face that didn't leave room for dissenting opinions. It's a good idea. It'll work. Uh, it's a terrible idea, Liz. Don't do it. Don't put Shiloh through it. Shiloh, you don't have to listen to her. Oh, alright. Let's be honest, he's probably gonna listen to Liz. While he seems more confident and like less shy than he was 10 years ago, he does still seem to have a soft spot for Liz, so I don't know if he's gonna have a backbone here. I gotta be honest. I am concerned. Liz sent you a roll of her eyes, as if you were the one with the ridiculous idea. Come on, Shiloh. We'll just talk to them, say that we're your friends from out of town. The worst that could happen is nothing changes. But once they have more chances to talk to you, I know they'll be convinced to be better friends. It's going to turn out okay. I don't know, Liz. I don't think this is a great idea. Yeah, this sounds like a mess. It sounds like a half thought out plan, like when we were children. But we're not children anymore, so maybe we, don't meddle in Shiloh's life? Just a thought, just an idea? Shiloh stalled to answer, but his hand was already hovering over one of the pockets of his pants. Shiloh, you don't have to listen to her. You're not a little kid anymore. She's not the boss of you. All right, we can talk. Yes. Liz, please don't ruin anything for poor Shiloh. Don't make a mess of the situation. I've got a bad feeling, y'all. Liz clenched a hand into a fist, cheering as Shiloh officially reached into the pocket and pulled out his phone. You noticed it was the same type of model as your own, but his had a red case around it. Yeah, this sounds like it's going to be an absolute train wreck, and I want the record to show that I tried to stop it. I tried to be the one that's like, maybe we don't do that. The screen lit up and Shiloh requested a video call with some number in his contacts. None of them on the list had names. He must remember what number belongs to what person. Okay, so Shiloh's a psychopath? Because how do you not have people in your contacts? You don't name people? You just leave their numbers willy-nilly? What is this bullshit? He inched closer to the three of you so everyone could hear better. Vaguely, you wondered how this looked from the outside. 4 teenagers out on the verge of adulthood, hanging out in an old playground, all huddled up around a single phone. Strange? Suspicious? The ringing of the phone broke you out of your musings. You kept your eyes on it, your heart beating at the end of each dial tone, thinking, could this be it? Only to have another start up. It had been ringing for a while when you started to think of what Cove said about all of you watching as Shiloh talked on the phone. Maybe even that wouldn't happen. Shiloh could sense the awkwardness in the air, smiling to try to dispel it. This is normal. Don't worry. I want to know who Shiloh's friend or wannabe friend is. Just as he said it, the call ended, not even going to voicemail. Shiloh clicked to redial. He never answers on the first call. He always does on the second. That's how he is, at least with most people. There are exceptions. You, Liz, and Cove furtively shared ambiguous looks, none of you wanting to accidentally discourage Shiloh. Then you focused on the phone again as it started to ring once more. I want to know who he wants to be friends with. The jingling suddenly cut off in the middle, followed by the faint sound of white noise. With a big smile and flushed cheeks, Shiloh brought the phone up to his face. A voice, low and groggy, came rasping out of the speakers. Hello? Shiloh, on the other hand, was much more chipper. Hi, I'm visiting a town I used to live in when I was little, and I wanted to introduce my group mate to the people I knew back then. Some of them have already met Nate. Can you say hey to them too? And with that rushed introduction, Shiloh stuck the phone out towards Cove, gesturing for him to greet the person on the other end. Although Cove hadn't been on board in the beginning, the only indication of that now was the lopsided tilt of his smile. He turned his gaze down to the screen, opening his mouth to speak, only to stutter to a complete stop. Huh? All Cove could do was sputter and gape at the screen. His reaction had Shiloh's brow crinkling in worry. Cove, are you good, my guy? What? Shiloh's groupmate didn't sound particularly impressed with how this conversation was going so far. Shiloh frowned, retracting his arm away from Cove. As he did so, the screen tilted towards you, and you caught a glimpse of what was on the screen. Oh no! Not this fucker! This is who Shiloh wants to be friends with? Ew, no, hang up the call. I hate him, make him go away. Make him go the fuck away right now. I hate that bullhead bitch brat. No. You got a stank ass fucking attitude. Stop it. Light green hair, sharp orange eyes shadowed with bangs, and icy pale skin, all tied together to make up the scowling face of a person who clearly had no desire to be here. I don't want him here either. Make him go away. You knew him. A flood of memories arose. Flashes of that one summer years ago at this very same park, you holding onto an arrangement of fruit, Derek and Cove at your side. And that kid, mean as a tiny chihuahua, snapping at everyone who dared to come close. Not that's bullcut, kid. Not quick, hang up the phone. Not wow, you're a lot better looking now. These fucking replies got me fucked up. Are you Jeremy? Yeah? His reply was palpably disinterested. How did you know his name was Jeremy? You didn't tell them? No, I only called you somebody from my group at school. Jeremy regarded you cautiously, for the first time giving the situation a little of his focus. Cove bristled, sucking in a long, deep, dramatic breath. Oh my god. All at once he started shouting, and not with just his voice. He waved his arms around, gesturing wildly with his hands as he repeatedly yelled, "Oh my god," with all sorts of inflections. Okay, Cove, I get it's not great, but that's like a lot of reacting there, buddy. Are you okay? Calm your little wiggle eyebrows. It's gonna be fine. Oh my god. Oh my god. At these antics, Jeremy gave a short huff of a sigh through his teeth, the sound tinny over the phone speakers. What is this, Shiloh? Are you trying to make me suffer? Are you still mad about what happened at the amusement park? I was on your side, you know. Liz, who had been entirely lost this whole time, finally spoke up. What happened at the amusement park? But no one paid that question any mind. I don't know what's going on. Have you met each other before? Nope. It was an immediate reply from Jeremy, but those stinging eyes squinted. Wait. There was a flash of recognition there as he leaned his head forward and scrutinized the both of you. His already wide frown somehow found a way to grow deeper at his realization. Oh, it's you people. Again. There's the stank fucking attitude. Have you really not gotten any better with age? Really? You still suck? He looked from Shiloh to Cove and then to you. You could tell he was carefully putting his thoughts together. I have no idea how you people got in contact with me, or what Shiloh has to do with this, but, sorry. What? Jeremy sighed again. His gaze rolled over to Cove. I don't remember exactly what I did or what I said, but I do know what I was like as a kid. And really, that's all I need to know. Well, okay, but who's that apology for? It better be for me and Blake. He spoke sternly, though there was no hiding the shakiness present. That didn't matter. Cove coming to your defense by confronting Jeremy brought a warm smile to your face. Jeremy, on the other hand, continued to be unimpressed, but the corner of his lip twitched. I didn't need to know what the teenage guy equivalent of a smooshy squeak is, but now I do. Thanks for that. He's still just an asshole. What is this? A small offended noise escaped Cove. Unfortunately, it was also squeaky sounding. His face immediately burned red with embarrassment. Why are you still giving Cove shit? You're a jackass. Go away. Not that's my squeak toy you're talking about. Wait, that's so cute, but I feel like Cove would combust. I'm gonna say hey, because what the fuck? Leave him alone. Taking a small step forward, your hands instinctively curled into fists. You couldn't believe at the first chance he got, Jeremy insulted Cove again. Glancing at Cove to silently ask, "Can you believe this?" you noticed the tiny smile on his face at your offensive on his behalf. Jeremy didn't react at all. He continued watching the 4 people on the other end of this unwanted call lackadaisically. The apology is for whoever. Anyone who had to deal with me back then, they weren't having a good time. He shrugged. Jeremy's focus cycled from you to Cove and back again. I kind of remember what happened, I think. You were sensitive, and you didn't have much patience for me. That makes sense. Jeremy tilted his head Cove's way, and then yours respectfully. Amazed, Cove took a few processing moments before he could respond. He blinked and rubbed the back of his neck. Oh, thanks. I mean, it's no problem? Hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I'd accept that apology, 'cause he's still a jackass now. I want to be someone that accepts apologies, but in this case, with how much of a dick he was to Cove, I'm pretty sure I almost fucking fought him, because he was just such a mean person, and he still, first chance he got, was making fun of Cove again. I am torn. I feel like if I said you're lucky you're not here in person, he would just agree. I want to be a good person. I want to be a forgiving person. But just every encounter we had with him was miserable, and this one isn't much better. But maybe if I accept his apology, it'll be better? Like, maybe that'll shift the tune of things? Okay, fine. I accept your apology. Thank you, I guess. This moment was the absolute last thing you had expected today, but you couldn't help but be pleased that it happened. Whatever. See, he's not even, like, happy that we accepted his fucking apology. He literally doesn't care. He's still a jackass. Following Cove's eye, you watched it dart from Shiloh to Jeremy, openly wondering what had happened to Jeremy over these past few years. So you're nice now? No, he's still a dick. He's still making fun of you. He's still. Nope. Even he fucking knows. I know he's just a fucking video game character, but if I ever see his bitch ass, it'd be on fucking sight, bro. I hate him. He is literally like the fictional embodiment of everything I can't stand in a person, because why are you so nasty for fucking nothing? Why are you in such a piss poor fucking mood for nothing? Yes, there are things that suck in life, but you don't have to take that out on everybody around you. We're just trying to be nice. He literally doesn't care, and I'm so ready for this to be over. Get me out of here. I don't throw tantrums or pick fights anymore, but I'm not nice. Yeah, I would agree with you there. You're still a douche. Jeremy shook his head in disbelief. That squeak toy comment wasn't a compliment, you know. Yeah, I know, you were making fun of Cove, and I'm gonna go fucking feral about it. Go away. Go away forever. Can we hang up this damn call? Because I'm gonna throw the phone in the fucking ocean, so help me. I don't have the energy to get angrily worked up like I used to as a kid. It's all pointless anyway. Now I'm just miserable. I hate him. His tone was even grumpier than usual, and dragged the syllables out on the last word for extra emphasis. Oh. An awkward laugh escaped Shiloh, then his mouth pulled into a demure smile. What the fuck is Shiloh doing trying to be friends with an asshat like this? Liz, please don't try and help them be friends. Don't let what Jeremy says about himself get you too down. He's got people who care about him and make sure he's okay, like me. But why though? He's still an ass. I don't understand how this sweet boy right here, this sweet, shy, sweet little thing, can be friends with a walking fucking storm cloud like this who's just mean to everybody. Why put up with it? No, Shiloh, you deserve better fucking friends than this. This isn't even bottom of the barrel. This is the fucking barrel. I hate him. Don't listen to Shiloh. I don't want this interaction anymore. I'm so over it. This guy raises my fucking blood pressure. Ugh. Here's my thing with this part is multiple things can be true. I personally don't care if he is sad or not. If he wants to be miserable, that is on him at this fucking point. I do think I'm going to focus more on Shiloh here and say it's nice you're looking out for someone else, because it is nice, and I would rather focus on Shiloh's nice than Jeremy's fucking miserable. Shiloh blushed at the compliment, while Jeremy fixed you with a blank stare. Thanks, Blake. Can we be done with this conversation now? Can we hang up, please? Can we mute him? Like, I don't fucking... Okay, seriously. How long am I meant to be out of the loop here? Her expression twisted in frustration as Liz rubbed her right temple. Why am I the only one who doesn't know this kid? Shiloh goes to school with him, that's fine, but how'd the two of you meet him and I didn't? I guess try to explain. You were there, I think. He was around town one summer, maybe 5 years ago? Is that all? While Liz seemed a bit underwhelmed, Shiloh appeared to be utterly amazed. You had to hold back a small laugh. You knew Jeremy as a little kid? What was he like? I've only known him for a year and a half. He was an asshole. He's still an asshole. He's a bad fucking person. Leave him alone. Well... His voice immediately rushed into nothing. You could see Cove wince just thinking on those past encounters. Not actually. Cove does a good impression of does a good Jeremy impression. Why don't you do that instead? I don't think that would end well with anyone, and while I can't stand this guy, I don't want to make it super awkward for Shiloh. Oh my god. Why am I here? I thought this would be like a wholesome moment, and now we're dealing with this asshat that used to have a bowl cut, and I just... Oof. I guess you reflected on that as well. You could already picture past Jeremy in your mind. Nani was kind of pathetic. All he did was yell and say people were dumb. I gotta say, these top 4 are very true. Because he was a mean kid, he was horrible. All he did was yell and say people were dumb, and he was kind of fucking pathetic, if I'm being so honest. I guess I'll say he was a mean kid. He's an asshat, but that's not an option. You weren't sure how to explain him, besides with that simple term. Cove nodded firmly in agreement. It didn't matter what happened. He was mad about everything. He really was. Jeremy's expression didn't give away a single sign of what he might have been thinking. He continued to blandly stare you both up until he finally spoke. Yep, that sounds like me. At that confirmation, Shiloh burst into uncontrolled laughter. Even when he calmed moments later, gasping for breath, there was still a wide grin plastered on his face. I can't even imagine Jeremy being like that. I can't imagine him not being like that. They both chuckled again. Cove's mouth pulled into a bent smile. Am I the only one so, not amused by this situation and dealing with this fucker again? I mean, Jeremy hasn't made fun of my eyebrows once this whole conversation. Unbelievable. Huh. Jeremy blinked and focused all his attention onto Cove. His eyes unmistakably narrowed in on the eyebrows. He didn't say anything at first, and then his words came out in a mumble. That makes sense. I guess insulting eyebrows was just what I did as a kid. Your eyebrows ain't any fucking better, buddy. What does that mean? What do you think it means? You weren't the only kid in the world with bad eyebrows, and you're not the only one I picked on for it. That feels like such a bizarre thing to focus in on a person. Like, of all the things you can criticize someone for, your target was eyebrows? I wasn't. You couldn't help yourself, could you? Nope. Wow. So, what made their eyebrows bad? Are you curious if yours are better, by terrible eyebrow standards at least? No. Sigh. Incredulously, Cove looked from Jeremy to you, and then back to him again. You had to question if you heard that right. He spoke the word sigh instead of actually sighing. What the fuck is going on, bro? Noticing the reaction, Jeremy sighed for real, but he continued on to answer Cove's question. The guy has particularly odd hair coloring, white hair, but only on the top of his head. Every other strand on his body is dark brown, including his immensely bushy eyebrows. He was born that way. It's not dyed. So, you were the scarred boy with dumb wavy eyebrows, and he was the white-haired boy with stupid caterpillar eyebrows. Why do you remember these insults so fucking vividly? What? Ow. Unexpectedly, a loud gasp came from Shiloh at that description. No, you picked on Pran for his eyebrows? I did. I'm sure you find that hilarious. No, that's not very funny. So he said, but Shiloh was smothering laughter. That unconvinced note in Jeremy's voice didn't surprise you. Mm-hmm. Okay, wait. Give me a second. Let me just... Jeremy rolled his eyes in the slowest, most exaggerated way possible. When he made a complete circle, he spoke flatly while Shiloh broke into a fit of giggles. There. Who's Pran? Shiloh knows him too? Jeremy and Pran have known each other for a long time. They managed to go to the same boarding school later on. I met them both there in the spring of last year. We're all group mates. Jeremy's gaze slid away from Shiloh. He looked somewhere between you and Cove. Pran and I met about 4.5 years ago, back when I was still an intolerable brat and Pran was meek. You can only imagine how amazing that combination was. Yeah, it must make those group meetings awkward. Nope. Somehow, someway, for some reason, Pran chose to stubbornly stick with me for as long as we've known each other. He's my best friend. I'm sorry, you're best friends with the guy you made fun of his eyebrows? Why? Why do people tolerate you? You're not a good fucking person. What? I'm with Cove. What the fuck is going on? What upside down universe, what fucking looking glass have I stepped through? I'm so confused. It's surprising, I know. I have a best friend, and it's the caterpillar brow guy of all people. But I guess things balanced out in the end. Pran's timid nature is good and dead. He grew up to be colder than even me. I'm mopey and he's broody, a perfect match. Two peas in a ruining everybody's life pod. Shiloh, why do you want to be friends with this guy? I don't get it. Don't quote Everett. Cove whined after Jeremy snapped his last remark. Now who's Everett? You don't want to know. Yeah, you don't want to know. Shiloh hummed and he watched his 3 old friends with an amused smile. He was having fun. Before you could say anything, Jeremy continued. I really want this interaction to be over, to be honest. Everett is also part of the group, unfortunately. But he chose not to elaborate further than that. Liz sighed this time. You could feel her frustration. You couldn't blame her for that. She hadn't been able to participate much at all. She didn't know Jeremy then, so there was no basis for reminiscing now, and there was a 10-year gap in her history with Shiloh. The whole situation struck an odd chord with you. Yeah, I don't like people like this either. I don't understand how Shiloh, who's like a good person, wants to be friends with a stoggy bitch like this. I don't get it. I don't know how a person can be soggy, but you know what I mean. Two boys that you knew separately came to know each other, and now they know each other much better than they know any of you. Shiloh was almost a stranger. I mean, I'm annoyed, but I'm annoyed that the guy is this fuck. I guess didn't know how to feel. irritated, but I don't think with the way that would go. I guess shrugged off the feeling for now. It was a weird twist of fate, but nothing worth getting upset over. All of you were breaking out to live your own lives. It was just a part of growing up. Turning to the three of you, Shiloh smiled apologetically. You wondered if he was picking up on how in the dark Cove and Liz were feeling. He was perceptive when he wanted to be. Hey, is there anything you want to hear about Jeremy? I can tell you all about him. We should get to know each other better. Don't do that. It'll be okay. Jeremy whined, but Shiloh brushed his complaints off. He remained happily focused on the rest of you, and Liz seemed to perk up at the conversation shift. I don't want to know anything about this fuck. I hate him. I want the call to be over now. That sounds great. We should get to know Jeremy. So, who wants to go first? Despite being eager, it was obvious that Liz didn't have any ideas herself. Jeremy let out a very long sigh. His birthday, full name. Not can I get his number? I don't want to know this guy. His parents like... Yeah, no, I don't want to know this fuck. I don't have any questions. Aw, alright then. Cove, do you have any questions for Jeremy? Stunned, it took Cove a moment to recover from being put on the spot. But ultimately, his eyes shifted from Shiloh's and locked with Jeremy's. They remained like that long enough that it was as if they could speak telepathically. Alright, yeah. I have a question, but Shiloh can't answer. Fine, ask me. Let's get it over with. What do you think of me? Even if you don't think I'm tough or something, do you still feel like I'm stupid and wrong about everything? A crack formed in Jeremy's lackadaisical expression. His barely opened eyes lifted a little more, but he still spoke flatly. My opinion on stuff is basically the least important thing you could ever worry about. It's pointless. Well, I'm still asking, so? I don't think I'm gonna like whatever comes out of his face. Cove, right? That's your name? Cove nodded. There was a tint of pink in his cheeks as he bashfully rubbed his arm. Okay, Cove. You seem like a guy who cares a lot about things that don't matter. It sounds pretty dumb to me. I outgrew that years ago. And being as soft as you act, it isn't something that I would ever do, basically. But you know what the absolute dumbest thing really is? Cove shook his head with creased brows. He then leaned forward just a bit like he couldn't risk not hearing what revelation Jeremy was going to bestow on him. Making yourself miserable if you don't have to be. Oh. If you and the rest of the people here have a way to enjoy existence, then you should go ahead and do that. Stay gentle and happy, dumb eyebrow guy. You have my approval if that's what you wanted. I hope you all have wonderful lives and suffer as little as possible. Wow. The word tumbled out softly. Cove was earnestly amazed by Jeremy's words. Thank you. And you know what's not gonna make you stay happy? What? Talking to a downer like me. So really, you should end this conversation right now, and none of you should ever call me again for the rest of our lives. That sounds good. Can I hang up already? Aw, wait, Jeremy, I can't never call you again. Shut up, Shiloh. Unfazed, Shiloh laughed with the tilt of his head. Building something good up only to try undercutting it. That's the Jeremy I know. Sorry. The word dripped with sarcasm and was accompanied by a smirk. It was the first time you saw him smile this entire time. I don't like it. Cove piped up meekly, an awkward smile of his own on his face. Maybe my opinion is totally skewed because I'm comparing things now to how Jeremy used to be, but, I mean, you don't seem that bad. He still seems horrible! What do you mean? He's a jackass. He just told Shiloh to shut up and Shiloh laughed it off like it's just the usual. And I'm like, am I losing my mind? Because everybody has me feeling a little bit like the odd one out right now. What? Cove needed to look away from Jeremy's painfully sharp eyes to finish his thought. I'd probably be okay with talking to you again. Sigh. Come on, you can have standards. Not I do think he's that bad. Honestly, I just, I do think he is that bad. I'd be fine with ending the call now. I'm gonna try not to be like that much of an asshole. I'm gonna go with I'd be fine with ending this call now. At least one person is making sense. You smirked at that. Liz clapped her hands together. It's a start. It's good enough. Now that we're so much closer to this Jeremy kid, I think we can all get along together and be friends. Liz, absolutely the fuck not. Over my actual dead body will I be friends with this dude? No. My answer is no. I don't like him. He's annoying. He's still a fucking asshole. I don't want it. Friends? Jeremy repeated the word back like it was a foreign phrase. He genuinely didn't seem to understand. That's right. If we keep working on it, I don't see why the five of us can't be friends. I can give you literally so many reasons. I have so many reasons. He stared at Liz incredulously for several moments, her expression twisted into fresh confusion of her own. Okay, 3 things. I already have one whole friend and that's more than enough. Second, I still don't know who you are. Did you even say your name at any point? And most importantly, third, one of the people in this friendship is Shiloh Fields. He and I aren't gonna be friends. What the fuck is going on? Why not? And I'm Liz, by the way. Because he's Shiloh. What the fuck is your problem, dude? Our relationship is already as good as it ever is gonna be. He mercifully leaves me be most of the time, and on the weird occasion where he needs something, I just get it over with. Then he goes away again, and I have a modicum of peace. You know how it works, right? You're in it with me. We have the best arrangement possible with the way it is. Jeremy looked to Shiloh seriously to back up the validity of their relationship, but Shiloh shook his head with a laugh. I don't try to hang around too much, but that's because you're shy. You're the only one who thinks that setup is actually a good idea. Sorry. Jeremy turned his face to the side and let out another exaggerated sigh. Cove and Liz both joined on Shiloh's mirth. Jeremy got no support. Of course you'd say that. Why did I even bother? That's Shiloh's famous memory for you. Liz's chuckling stopped. Wait, what does that mean? Shiloh's famous memory. What? Whatever. Basically, Shiloh annoyingly remembers everything that happens for all of eternity. At least until some piece of info he has isn't helpful anymore, or he's got explaining to do. Then magically, all of a sudden, he doesn't know anything about it. His boldly inconsistent recollection of situations is pretty much a running joke. It's Shiloh's shtick. One of them, anyway. A scowl dug into Liz's face as Jeremy spoke. Cove lost his smile, seeing her reaction. Shiloh remained silent, with his big childlike eyes locked on your sister. Jeremy began to shrink away from the screen at the changing atmosphere. He broke eye contact with everyone. I'm guessing he didn't mention that. No, he didn't. And he said he forgot something to you? I do recall him saying a little thing like that. Sorry. But, well, apparently you had the pleasure of meeting Nate. You know me, and I talk a bit about Pran and, Everett too. We're all in that unbearable group, and we're all unbearable people. What an amazing coincidence, huh? What we're about is kind of hard to hide. I'm gonna go now. I don't want to be the fifth wheel to your own little group. You three people have a good day, I guess. And Shiloh, I'll see you back at school. Bye. Jeremy promptly ended the call. Just as people had begun to warm up to him, he accidentally found a new way to ice the mood again. That was so... I didn't like any fucking part of that. Shiloh, now averting his own gaze, put his phone away and chuckled. I knew that Jeremy didn't think highly of me, but it's even worse than I thought. That's really sad. Shiloh. Her firm tone immediately brought Shiloh's focus back to her. Once she got his attention, however, Liz's voice became small. When we first met you in the city, did you know who we were? Did you pretend to not to recognize us? The two old friends watched each other for a beat, but ultimately, Shiloh closed his eyes with a lopsided smile. Aw, Lizzie, you've got to know I could never really forget you. Liz was speechless, but it wasn't quiet. Cove couldn't stop himself from shouting out. Oh my God, you were lying to them? Lying is a strong word. I was, improvising. Jesus, so Shiloh just... That was cruel, Shiloh. That was so unnecessary. To pretend you didn't fucking recognize us. Liz was so excited to see him again. Liz was so excited to see him again, and he brushed her the fuck off on purpose. That was fucking cruel. Shiloh, it's on goddamn sight, bro. You and Jeremy fucking deserve each other. That was so gross. Now I see why you want to be friends with him. You're your own kind of fucking twisted. Browning, you crossed your arms and waited. He hurt your feelings, and he continued to hurt you by not even acknowledging that you spoke. That entire conversation where you had found each other again was all a lie. The thought of it made your chest tighten and your heart feel heavy. Go home, Shiloh, or go to my house and wait there until we can send you home. Okay. With his shoulders dipped and head low, Shiloh obediently left the park alone. After he disappeared up the road, Liz sat her butt down right into the sand with no concern for how dirty her dress might get this time. Oh, See, I'm so torn between being there for Liz and fucking confronting Shiloh, because what the fuck is that? You don't just do that to people. Hmm. See, I want to confront him, but I also think being there for Liz might be the more important thing right now. Crouch down with your sister. You can go. We're done. Cove shared an unsure look with you. She wanted to be alone, but this wasn't the time for that. We're not going anywhere. Accepting that you were going to be here for this, she let out a groan. At the same time, Liz pulled the sides of her hat down, gripping it tightly in frustration. I can't believe he pretended he didn't know us. Since when was Shiloh too good to catch up with acquaintances? It's infuriating. Am I an idiot for thinking we could talk? Aw. Wrap your arms around her, Liz. This is not on you. This is 1,000% on Shiloh and whatever the fuck was going through his little fucking baby brain. You wiggled closer and pulled your big sister into a hug from the side. You continued to hold on even when she didn't let go of her hat. Shiloh lied to us. That's not your fault. Seriously, he's a tool. I know I shouldn't care. It doesn't matter if one person doesn't want to be my bestie. He's not the greatest man on earth. I'll be fine. But I brought him here all the way from the other side of the state, and I don't even know why he did any of this. Liz finally removed her hands from the brim of her hat and ordered to rub at her temples instead. It blows. Cove snorted some nervous laughter at her unexpected phrasing. She didn't mind it. Not Liz, if we ever see that guy again, I'll hurl him into the ocean. Not say the word and I'll force answers out of him. I'm gonna go with, it's true, but you'll always have me. Thanks, baby kiddo. She squished you tight and rocked you back and forth into a dramatic hug. You let out a Cove-like squeak. I love you. I love you too. And what is family for? Well, I thought it was for hogging the phone while growing up, but this works. She released you with a shaky, self-impressed laugh. Oh, and thank you too, Cove, for being around. We're going to officially be family one day, right? Damn, poor Cove! Shit, here I am trying to be like a good sibling to my sister, and she's out here just drawing attention to Cove again. Goddamn. She shot him a weary smile, and he tensed up, face going red. He was willing to take her teasing if it made her feel better. Don't mention it. Good, good. Liz rested her eyes after those last couple words. It eased your heart to see her feel better. Cove let out a soft sigh of relief. Hey. Cove then brought his face close to yours so he could speak in a whisper. Are you okay? I know Liz was his best friend, but you knew him too, and you were there when he did his whole pretend improvisation act. I'm irritated. I wouldn't say I'm sad, I wouldn't say I'm furious, but it is annoying to know that he did that shit on purpose, because that's just kind of an asshole thing to do. But also, it doesn't matter that much because Shiloh's not in our life actively anymore. So, yeah, I think overall I'd go with I'm okay. Then I'm glad. He doesn't deserve to be gone for 10 years and suddenly mess with everybody's emotions. Cove ended his checkup by reaching out to pat you on the shoulder reassuringly. Your longtime neighborhood group sat together quietly in the sand, just enjoying the feeling of familiarity and support. You weren't entirely sure how much time passed, but you were eventually caught off guard by a soft call in the distance. In unison, the three of you turned your heads to the sound, and there, standing at the edge of the playground, was Shiloh himself. He waved. Not he flipped him off. Move in front of Liz protectively. Liz doesn't need this shit. You didn't want him to hurt your sister again. Why would he think it was okay to come back here after everything? It's a good thing your name is Field because I'm going to put you on the ground. Jesus. You could have a really, unhinged fucking character if you wanted. He does. You've got a lot of nerve, Shiloh. You meant every word of that. What's that? I couldn't hear you from over there. But don't get up on my account. I'll come to you. No. You knew he heard what you said. Shiloh approached with easy strides, as if he had been welcomed. You were floored with how much confidence or shamelessness the boy was apparently capable of now. Liz turned her face and refused to acknowledge what was happening. She might have been trying to think happy thoughts and wish Shiloh's presence away. Unfortunately, it didn't work. When Shiloh arrived, he plopped down into the sand with the rest of you, his legs folded crisscross. Hi. Leave. Seriously, get lost. I will in just a minute. What do you want now? Well, I figured you'd want to talk to me after you had some space. I ought to let you do that, even if you're gonna yell at me. Liz finally faced him to be free to snap at Shiloh with full force. And why in the world would you think that? Unfazed, Shiloh looked back at her softly. You haven't changed that much, Lizzie. You're the one who found me online when I brushed you off earlier this summer. When have you ever preferred leaving something unresolved in the end? You didn't even get a chance to make me explain why I did it. I bet you're dying to do that. Liz ground her teeth, quietly fuming. Shiloh had called it right, and that sucked for her. Fine, I'll bite. Give me your excuses. Well, mostly it was really bad timing. I could have handled it a lot better if I had known I was going to see you that day, and if there wasn't a self-appointed hall monitor dutifully watching every move people made. And a hi, good to see you gotta go was simply too much for your little heart to manage? Of course, the goal was to keep as much distance as possible. Admitting I was the guy you knew wouldn't have been helpful. So you can't stand us, and me trying to reconnect was just a huge pain for you after all. Amazing, wonderful, thank you so much for saying so. No, that's not it. Don't feel bad though, you're almost never wrong. Your older sister's brows twitched as she stared at Shiloh in tired disbelief. He smiled back at her brightly. I did it so this wouldn't happen. What? I dealt with that situation the way I always do, by saying stuff I didn't exactly mean because it's just easier that way. You heard Jeremy, it's what I'm known for. Sure, right now you're mad that I pretended not to remember you, but if I hadn't done that, it would have been something else later on and we'd have ended up here still. Liz's anger became more and more difficult for her to maintain. It was soon replaced with a sad confusion. Then don't do that. Don't be like that. Why not be someone you're actually okay with you're okay showing me? Shiloh chuckled uncomfortably and searched for a way to explain himself to his former idol. I wouldn't have made you sad if I could have avoided it. I mean that. I thought I could at least finish this visit without issues. Jeremy wasn't someone I expected to call me out. That's pointless to him usually. But I'm not going to be someone whose personality revolves around making you happy. No matter how much I follow others, it wasn't for them. Every decision was mine. I couldn't be in charge, so being a sidekick to the best option was something I did for my sake. I choose to let people be the boss when it's what I need, and I choose where to stop it. And the best I can do for you now is spare you from dealing with it. I'm not as earnest as you are. I'm not as nice as you are. I was always like that, even as a kid. Back then, I wanted to fit in, even if it meant excluding someone else. If they were the odd one out, that'd mean I wasn't. Finding my place here got harder when Cove moved in. It was a good thing for everybody that I ended up moving myself soon after that. That is horrible. What the fuck? Genuinely, dude has just always been a douche? Yeah, that's horrible. You didn't know what else to say. Nothing else could sum it up. I knew that's essentially how you were back then. You were a scaredy cat who wanted someone to defend you. I simply imagined that in the past 10 years, you grew out of that and learned how to speak to others like, I don't know, an actual grown-up human being. Well, in my defense, I'm not an adult yet. I won't be 18 until later this year in October. October 30th. You remembered. So did you, punk. Shiloh chuckled self-consciously as Liz smirked at him. There was an affable moment before she became serious again. I liked you when we were kids. I wanted to know you now. That's what upset me the most. The idea that maybe you only wanted to be rid of your old friends. Aw, Lizzie, you're too good to need someone like me in your life. That's the truth. I'm not worth the effort. Except for with unusual people who have odd taste. Then she straightened up in the sand, brushing her dress back out. That's an incredibly annoying thing to say. It's insane. You've only changed in stupid ways and stayed the same for the rest. That's fair. Is it? It means maybe I have unusual taste. You could have stuffed Shiloh's entire hat into his mouth with how wide he opened it. Really? Well, as much as mother hen being compelled to look out for their chick, no matter how useless they are, is unusual. I can't help it. You haven't changed that much after all either. You're still Shiloh. You're painfully still Shiloh. I brought you here, and I'm not gonna abandon you. It has to be someone's job to look out for and keep an eye on you. With her surety returning, she pulled herself up off the ground and glowered down at Shiloh with her arms folded. Now, I do want an apology for everything done behind our backs when you could have opened with all of that you just said. You should have given me a real chance or stayed home. This stunt was rude. To me and Blake and Cove too. As if bringing the baby chick comparison to life, Shiloh dutifully did as he was told. Sorry, Lizzie, Blake, Cove, everyone. I didn't want to cause problems or ruin the day. And you don't have to accept just 'cause I'm saying it. Not everybody needs to like everyone. Alright then. You were kind of mean sometimes when we were kids, but I wasn't very nice to you either. All this recent stuff isn't really something to make about me, so I'm not gonna hold on to it. I mean, as long as you're not gonna keep upsetting people from now on. Thanks, Cove. I'll avoid doing that in the future. It's probably lies! He then changed his focus to you. His expression was curious. He wanted to know where your feelings landed on this, on him. Were you pretending to have a good time with us today? It'll be a fucking lie! We can't even ask him for, any information because it's still gonna be a fucking lie. You know what? Let's see what he says. Were you pretending to have a good time with us today? No, it really was great to come back to the old neighborhood and see you three. I only guessed it would end badly, so I tried not to get into the situation in the first place. I mean, it ended badly because you were a douche. Blake, do you want to stay for what's left of the evening? You don't have to. As you got to your feet, you thought about it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. I thought this was gonna be a really good moment, and then it all went to shit, and now I'm just. I don't know. I'm irritated. Because I don't want to spend any more time with him. You did it and there was a reason for it? What's the reason? No. Didn't want to spend any more time with Shiloh. Wait. Not I don't like you, Shiloh. I can't tolerate someone like him. You know what? I am gonna back it up. I just want to see you did and there was a reason for it if it tells me anything. I like if Liz is looking out for Shiloh, someone has to look out for her. Yeah, no problem. I got you. I wanted to share the info with a fellow streamer. Yeah, if Liz is looking out for Shiloh, someone has to look out for her. He was so good at first. I don't know what the fuck happened. A sly grin went across your face. Shiloh jumped to his feet, straightening his cap on the landing. Lynn would be so proud. You didn't all leave. Cove rose as well, but with a groan. Another group mate? No, he's our group supervisor. He's also friends with my mom. And if you were still wondering, that group is for people who have difficult to deal with attitudes. Jeremy and Nate being in it makes a lot of sense, huh? Shiloh spoke simply and finished his thought with a breezy shrug. Liz sighed loudly, and then she smiled ruefully at him. Geez, Shiloh, you've certainly made yourself other people's problems since leaving. Well, now you all know me better too. Thanks for sharing. A small smirk appeared on her face as she watched Shiloh. You didn't fail to notice the hint of sarcasm in her voice. And thank you, Blake. Accompanied by a warm smile, Liz's tone was sincere. I can keep hanging out with everyone too. Sheepish, Cove rubbed his arm. Liz's smile stretched into a grin at that news. Aw, thanks for sticking around. It's not for you. None of this is for you. I'm hanging out because of Liz, and I'm pretty sure Cove's hanging out because of me. Literally, Liz just feels responsible for you until you go the fuck home. I never want to see your bitch ass again. You're a bad person. Well then, what now? The four of you stared at each other in silence until Shiloh tentatively made a suggestion. Would anyone want to build a sandcastle? That sounds ideal. Your older sister began to truly relax again, and you were glad to see it. Glancing at Cove, he nodded in agreement with Liz. Yeah, I like that idea too. It had been a long time since you last built a sandcastle together. You are already looking forward to burying your feet in the sand. Then we're all agreed. Come on, gang, let's go play at the beach. The sun was far across the sky when the four of you trailed down from the park to the shore in comfortable silence. It was hard not to think back on how familiar it all felt. You never thought the four of you would ever be here together again. It wasn't long before you were sitting on the wet ground, busily pushing as much sand as possible into a lump. You all worked together quietly, but every so often a chuckle would drift through because of the castle's lopsided development. At one point, Cove stretched his legs out completely, and the incoming waves started reaching his toes. He initially was caught off guard and almost jumped into the castle, but ultimately didn't resist the water. After that, the group worked with purpose to finish before the ocean could tear it all down, though even still, Liz ended up taking time to be particular about the castle's rudimentary design. Shiloh, of course, backed up all her plans. Cove was a dissenting voice, wanting to keep things more laid back. Things got pretty boisterous. Being there and doing this with Cove, Liz, and Shiloh, it felt weirdly different, yet also weirdly the same. Absent-mindedly, you twisted your fingers in the sand and thought about everything Shiloh said today. It was still bothering you, but to some degree, it all felt kind of like closure. And not just with Shiloh, but also with Jeremy of all people, the old villain of that one summer from long ago. Just like old times, the four of you stayed on the beach until night fell, and the moon was high in the sky. Then, the time had come to say goodbye. Shiloh needed to get back to his mom, and back to where his life truly was now. The four of you walked up the neighborhood street as one, tired smiles covering the familiar faces around you. You never could have seen where the day was heading when it started, however, you appreciated the opportunities it brought you in the end. After that, Shiloh disappeared from Sunset Bird once again, though this time it wasn't heartbreaking or hard to understand. This time, it was just another part of life. And it helps that Liz had her own phone and laptop and could easily check in on him time to time. That was nice too. Okay, here I was thinking that was going to be a nice wholesome moment, and then it just turned into like drama galore, and I wasn't prepared for it. But I guess that's where we're done. Just a heads up, just a quick reminder, tomorrow will be the test, and Friday will be Fortnite, so I will see y'all around for that. And another quick reminder, next week is going to be double Twitch streams. We're gonna have a Fortnite day, we're gonna have a Batman day for Superhero Sunday, so that'll be 2 streams. Hopefully we can make a good dent in that. There will probably be a Porsche day. who knows? Maybe we'll do an Our Life day and finish our last 2 Cove moments. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah, we got through it. That's the important thing. I saved. We're done with serendipity. That was some serendipity fucking bullshit, if we're being honest. But okay, y'all, I am going to hop off and wrap up here. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And as always, take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. It's hard being a person. You're doing the best you can. I am proud of you. And don't forget to live a life that pisses off a bigot. Bye, y'all.